Tom Clark's Main Event is a Boink Studios production. And now, on with the show.
This is Daddy's show. Step off.
Come on, won't you say it loud? Ayo, we gon' turn this out. Tom Clark's Main Event.
Hey, what's up, kids? Welcome back to the program. Tom Clark back here with you yet again on another Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in, for hanging out, and all that good stuff. Big shout out to Jay Luft. Almost every time I go live now here on the Main Event, I think about Jay because I had him on the show, and just to peel back the curtain a bit there, kids, in case you don't know, when we hit go live on this side, down below where I see myself on my screen, I can see my guests, and I just got to click their face and it brings them up on the stage. Yeah. Well, Jay was in particularly good mood one time, and I had like him and Joe and maybe somebody else lined up to come on the screen with me. And during the opening song, Jay is doing this, where I can see him with the dopiest smile on his face that you've ever seen, and I lost it. And I thought, I'm going to start this show laughing like an idiot, and the crowd's going to be like, what is going on over there with this Tom Clark guy? Anyway, every time I go live now, I think about that. It's freaking insane. So shout out to Jay Luft. How's everybody doing out there? Welcome back to the show. This is episode 397. 3 weeks to go, kids, until we hit the big 400. What do you think about that? That's pretty cool, yeah? I'm very excited about that. We're going to try to fill the show up that day with guests, co-hosts, you name it. Or we may just keep it small. You'll just have to tune in and see. But a big thank you as we kick off today, folks, to everybody who continues to watch and also downloading the audio version. Please, if you will, folks, check out boinkstudios.com and follow Tom Clark's Main Event on Boink Studios YouTube. The link is in the chat, and I appreciate it as always. First guy to the show here today is Fernando on the YouTube. Happy Friday, Fernando. Good to see you. Ray Dean is here, kids. Ray all day, the host of Ray Sports and Slams, goes live every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Facebook and on Boink Studios YouTube. So if you will, please go subscribe on the YouTube and check us out. Coming up live this Monday. JP is here. Good to see you, my friend. And JP says, "Got to have fun when you can. No fun to take life so seriously." Hey, man. Especially in this day and age, I posted a little something on my page this morning. It has nothing to do with pro wrestling, but it lit a fire under me. And I'm telling you, man, the podcast that is going to be Tom talking about stuff other than pop culture may be coming soon. Because, again, the fire's been lit, but we'll see. Kids, today we are going to review AEW WrestleDream. Took place this past Saturday in St. Louis, Missouri. And hopefully you kids out there watch that and you want to talk about it here today because, man, we got some stuff to talk about. And I've got a guest. He's in the bullpen warming up right now, kids. He'll appreciate that. You know him as the host of the Patton Report, and you also know him as the co-host of Bachman's Basement, two brand new podcasts exclusively available, at least in video form, on Boink Studios YouTube. So let's welcome him to the show, kids. A great friend of the show, everybody. Please welcome back Mr. Chris Patton. What's up, Chris?
Hey, what's up, guys?
How you doing, man? Good to see you. Thanks for joining us as always.
I am doing wonderful. I finished WrestleDream today, so it is fresh in my mind.
That's awesome. I was telling you before we went live here today, man. I'm glad I don't know what you thought. I don't have any takes. We're going in cold, which is fine, but could also be scary. Because if you love something I didn't love or hated something I didn't hate, or whatever that looks like, then we'll be like, what do you mean you don't love it? This was great. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it turns out reading entire Stephen King novels and trying to keep up with wrestling, very, very difficult.
Very difficult. Yeah, I was doing the gig today, the writing gig today, and on the clock all the way till 3:00. So yeah, trying to leave myself enough time in between. It's challenging. You know how that goes. So, kids, you know Chris. Chris, you know the kids. Please, everybody, make him feel welcome. And again, Chris, thanks for joining us. Let's get this out of the way as we kick off. Overall thoughts about WrestleDream 2025. First reaction, what do you think?
Thought it was a very fun show with a lot of really good female matches and two really great tag matches. That's my thought coming out of it.
Nice. Well, it's great to hear that because I am with you 100% on everything you just said because I thoroughly enjoyed this. You know what's funny, man? All the time with this company, when it's not like one of their big marquee shows, people will say things like, well, there's not much going on. And then, look, I've been guilty of it too, but like, yeah, I'm going to watch the show, but this not happening, this not happening. And then I watch the show, and 2/3 of the way through, I'm going, why do I keep doing that? I get so much out of their shows. Even if one match isn't for me, the next one probably will be. Like, sometimes I sell them short to their credit. Sometimes I do.
This one did a little better than some of their other pay-per-views for me because it felt like a more traditional wrestling show up until the main event, and then they saved their some of the things that I don't necessarily like as much in wrestling for the main event. So we'll get into that as we go through the card, but there were some really good matches on the show. So if you're just watching it for pure wrestling love of the sport, so to speak, I thought this was a really, really fun show to watch.
I totally agree. I couldn't agree more. Well, look, let me hit you with this right off the bat here, man, because I know it was closer, way deep in the card, but I want to talk about it anyway. Jurassic Express defeated the Young Bucks. Now, I don't know how you feel. I thought this was the match of the night. I freaking love this. What's your thoughts?
I really liked this match a whole lot, and it might have been my match of the night, except for I liked the Brody King tag match more.
Interesting.
So, I specifically through the story building with Okada and Takeshita and what they were doing there. But as far as like in-ring stuff goes, I think the Jurassic Express match was probably a little better. They did go for the what are they calling it? The Tony Khan driver now, the TK driver instead of the Meltzer driver. They did go for that spot like a billion times, and that kind of wore on me. But that's you get that from a Bucks match. I thought Jurassic Express as a tag team back for the first time in quite a while. They looked very, very good.
They did.
Big guy, small guy tag team. I know one of your friends that come on this show. And it's on the Bear Mode podcast with you. Loves big man, small man tag team. So I'm sure he was super hyped for it.
Yeah, Joe. For sure. Joe, shout out Joe, baby.
But yeah, man, I liked it. I liked it a lot. I think I could have probably done with the Smoz afterwards. It's kind of a weird way to reintroduce Kenny Omega as saving the Jurassic Express. But outside of that, it was like he made a big comeback to save the good guys. I guess there's worse things that you could do. But yeah,
I mean, I think a lot of that feeds back into the notion. I think you and I talked about this too. I'm sure that they've mishandled Kenny from day one. Maybe not from day one, but I don't know that the focus has always been on Kenny's our guy, like I believe it should have been. You know what I mean? So I attribute a lot of what I saw at WrestleDream at the end of that match to that. It's like, it's a return. Can't you just, I don't know. It's like they try to shoehorn in so much stuff at one time. Sometimes it can get a little crazy.
Yeah, and it's the format that they do it in, right? Like, so it's like every pay-per-view you get a big return almost, it seems. And sometimes it's better to save that for TV and make it special, right? Make it mean something. I complained about this, I think, in your chat with Eddie Kingston's return. I was not on the show that day, but I was definitely complaining about Eddie Kingston's return, and I think we talked about it offline. But it's kind of a similar thing. Like Kingston had that return, now he's on the pre-show, right? So make it mean something, especially when they're big stars like a Kenny Omega coming back or Eddie Kingston. Sometimes it's better to build that stuff up a little bit, as opposed to just being like surprise, pay-per-view surprise. But maybe that works for Tony Khan. He puts a little rumor out there that person might be coming back on the pay-per-view that gives them 10,000 extra buys or something. And that relates to cash. I don't know. He is a statistician after all. Maybe he has some information I don't.
He is a statistician for sure.
But in the world of wrestling, and what I like about wrestling is make it meaningful, and then you'll get more buys the next time around.
Yeah. I don't get it either. The Eddie Kingston stuff, we don't have to go into it too much, but we've always been big fans of Kingston here, and just like we are of Mark Briscoe and a couple other guys that can seem to, no, I was going to say put one foot in front of the other. It's not through no fault of their own, just how they're booked. But yeah, I feel that for sure. Yeah, for me again, man, this was the match of the night. I just, and as much crap as the Bucks catch, some of it well deserved, but some of it, like, as soon as the bell rings, you're like, oh, it's the Young Bucks. Oh, that's right, they're freaking great. Like, no matter what you think of them, it's kind of like the old Shawn Michaels thing where when he was a heel against Brett and people freaking hated him and they turned him face, right? And you're like, I don't know if this is going to work because people love to boo him. And they did. But then when Shawn worked, you're like, my God, Shawn's freaking great. Like, you just, even his haters are like, all right, screw it. I'll cheer for him because he's awesome. Like, sometimes you forget how good the Bucks are because of all the political stuff and stuff that's said and rumors and innuendo. Then they work and you're like, holy crap, they're great.
I think it's almost more of their promos, and like as far as a lot of the hatred to the Bucks is kind of the goofiness of the Bucks, which is what got them to this point to begin with, to some extent, with being the
Fair.
elite. But I don't know that it works on a weekly television show. And I think, that goofiness kind of rubs off it, because then you have to shift your mind from, oh, this is a comedy act, but also they're serious wrestlers, because they're going to go in there and have a 30-minute serious tag match. And that's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. And the Bucks in general, Super Kick Party, all that stuff is, if you're an old, like, they could have the greatest match of all time, and someone that falls more in line with like Jim Cornette's mind of thinking as far as traditional wrestling goes, they're going to hate it, right? Because a Bucks match is always going to be a Bucks match. And the same used to be said about Shawn Michaels. You brought up Shawn Michaels. Like, a Shawn Michaels match is very specific to a formula. You could say the same thing about, Macho Man Randy Savage. It doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It's just not going to be everyone's cup of tea, depending on what era of wrestling you grew up watching. But I do tend to agree with you. Usually the Bucks on a pay-per-view, you're going to get a quality match at the very least, even if you don't like the guys.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I like the way you pointed out, like, every guy has a routine. Brett famously had his, people always gave John crap for his 5 moves of doom. Brett had his routine. You knew what Brett was going to do. Flair complained about in his book that he couldn't get Brett to deviate. He's like, why can't we just do this? And Brett's like, no, I have to do this, and I got to do this, and I got to do that, then I got to do that. And he's like, Flair's like, all right, I don't understand, but okay. So, like, Flair was always more willing to switch things up based on who he was working, if it made sense for the match. I mean, look, rest in peace, Randy Savage. No disrespect meant. He was freaking, he's an icon. But that match against Steamboat, and you probably know this, Chris, they rehearsed that thing for 3 weeks in Steamboat's house, in a ring in his backyard, because, I'm sorry, at Savage's house in a ring in his backyard, because Savage demanded they do. And Ricky's like, why are we doing this? Well, whatever. So they did, but it was part of Randy's insecurity. Like, he had to be 100% certain everything was going to be flawless. And it was. And people are like, this is the most magnificent match of all time. And I'm like, both guys are legends. However, they did rehearse it for 3 straight weeks. And it's not me trying to throw shade, Chris. It's just something you got to kind of take with it too. You know what I mean?
A lot of, yeah, I agree with you. A lot of Eddie Kingston hate in the chat today. I see. I was not saying push this guy to the moon or anything. I'm just saying, if you're going to bring him back, he does have a pretty big fan base. Maybe don't just throw him on the pre-show.
Yeah, come on, Maria. Maria's coming out throwing some jabs today, buddy. For now, hey, look, I love Macho. It's nothing, no. And by the way, when Macho did that rap diss track on Hogan, was the greatest thing I'd ever heard to that point. Have you heard that rap diss track he did?
Yes, I have. Be a man, Hogan.
Be a man, Hogan. Y'all don't be scared. You're running from Macho. That's what I heard. I love that, actually. Yeah, for sure.
We definitely didn't have any Macho Man slander there. Just pointing out the fact that if you look at wrestlers from the 60s, in the time period that Macho Man was around in the 70s in the territories, his style of wrestling was not loved by everyone. That's the same thing. That's all. That was all I was pointing out there. It's the same thing with the Bucks.
Right. I get you. JP says the Bucks need to do something because this storyline is not working. You talking about they're always broke? Yeah, it's kind of getting thin for me. It's kind of getting thin for me too. E, all the best to you, my friend. All the best to your mom, of course. Yeah, hang in there, my friend. Hope everything goes well. All the best to everybody. Please send E your well wishes and your good vibes today. I'm sure he could use it, and so could Alma. So, yeah, both you guys, I appreciate you very much watching as always. Ray, I don't know when Swerve is coming back, but I got some Swerve stuff that I can't tell you. And I know what you're Ray's at home going, what? Anyway, I can't. It's nothing major. It's nothing earth shattering. But anyway, let's Maria says, so what if they rehearse the match? It's a WWE thing. They always rehearse. It is what it is. I mean, it's fine. Maria, really quick to answer your question. You call it in the ring. You just call it in the ring. WWE doesn't do that. They will not do that, Chris, because they do not want to take a chance on something going wrong. But old school says call it in the ring. And we have both probably watched 1,000 matches or more that were called in the ring that were magnificent, amazing, standing room only. Holy cow, this is a great match. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we've lost the narrative a little bit. The point that we were getting across is the Bucks, their style is not loved by the generation before them. Shawn Michaels' style was not loved by the generation before him. Macho Man's style was not loved by the generation before him. So the point I was making is if you don't like a Bucks match, you're not ever going to like a Bucks match, especially if you're just like, that's not the wrestling I like. But as far as the match quality and what they put on pay-per-view, for me, I think it's, they always put a solid performance out there.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And I've not always been a big fan of theirs, but I cannot deny how freaking great they are.
Yeah, I could do without all the elite stuff or them ever cutting a promo. But as far as their matches go, I'm good with that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about Kris Statlander defeating Toni Storm, retaining the AEW Women's World Championship. A definitive win, in your opinion, Chris? This maybe dispels the notion that she's only going to be a quick transitional champion, perhaps?
Well, I think, them immediately setting up another title match right after with a different opponent dispels that more than the win itself, right? Because I wouldn't call it, it's not like she dominated or anything in this match.
No. She didn't dominate, but I like Stat a lot, and I do not want to see her lose to Mercedes. And if the point of this is we need to put that belt on Mercedes, of course Mercedes does not need that title, obviously. Mercedes doesn't need any belt she has, if we're being real. But, Stat just got this thing, and she's worked hard to get it, and I just don't want to see her drop it. And I'm not saying, Chris, she should have it for X number of months and then Toni takes it back. I don't know if they need to go that route either, but I don't know how we call a future Mercedes versus Stat match, which I'm sure we're going to get. I mean, they'll at least cross paths at some point. We'll see what happens, man. But how are you feeling about that? What do you think about Mercedes possibly beating Stat at some point? Too much?
I think it's definitely too soon. I don't know if it's too much. They could set that up for down the road if they want to do that title switch. But do you think, going off of what you just asked, do you think they're setting up a match that's going to be like a belt versus belt situation? Because Statlander is not going to go work all those other promotions, I wouldn't think.
No, I think it would be TBS versus the World Championship. That's what I think. I don't think it would be all those other titles. I'd be surprised.
I think they do that a little too often in general, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it'd be a good win for Kris Statlander to set this match up and then just have her win, and it just be a not title versus title type deal. Because what you don't want is to take the title off Mercedes Moné, put it on Statlander, and now she has two titles. There's too many belts. We'll go back to that.
That will always be your argument, counselor. I hear it every time you're in this court. Every time.
Well, I mean, once you get into the situation where you're doing your middleweight champion versus your heavyweight champion every week, title versus title, that's problematic because that means that you don't have enough to flesh out two divisions. Or why are you doing that match? That points to you having too many belts.
Yeah, they got plenty.
That goes into the bookings bad.
Well, I mean, shout out Phil Lindsay. Phil is really high on the idea of Lashley getting pushed as a singles star and going for the world title. And I'm like, I'm not disagreeing with you. but he's not winning that belt. And if he is, it ain't going to be right now. And for everyone that wants to see him in that position, cool. But when he doesn't win, is it Tony's fault? Is it, once again, Tony, blah, blah? Look, you wanted him there, but just because he's there doesn't mean he's going to be Hangman. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. It's weird. I mean, I see where he's coming from, but I don't know. I think the thing with Mercedes and Stat can get messy. But here's what I'll say about Stat versus Tony. I really like this match. Tony does not need a belt. She'll get it back at some point. I think Tony and now I'm blanking on her name. Tony and help me out here. Her best friend, Mina. I think Tony and Mina are going to fight for the AEW Women's World Tag Team Championships. They may even win the belts. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, fingers crossed on that. I'm sure that tournament's going to be fantastic. I'm looking forward to it, actually.
Yeah, I mean, going back to your question though, and after thinking about it a little bit longer here, with Mercedes Moné, they're going to set up that's the next match. But I feel like, Statlander just won the belt, so she's going to go over, right? I think she's going to hold that thing for a little bit longer.
I would hope so. Yeah. Maria says, I don't understand this narrative about certain talents not needing titles. You could have said that about a lot of people. Ric Flair, Stone Cold. I disagree, Maria. I totally disagree with you. Ric Flair was the man to carry that championship in the Mid-Atlantic and Jim Crockett territory. He was the man to carry it. Because here's what I'll tell you, Maria. I love me some Dusty. But when Dusty beat him, Chris, things weren't the same. When Ronnie Garvin beat him, things weren't the same. And that's no disrespect to Ron. I love Ronnie Garvin. But it's, numbers were affected and business was affected because they spent all that time building up Rick and telling the whole world he's their guy. So whenever he did drop the belt, it was a thing. It was a big thing for that entire territory, not just the South, but, everywhere the NWA ran. So, Maria, all due respect, I disagree with you about that. And Maria, the point here is that in this day and age, the way wrestling is marketed now, the way things have changed, people are not going to a pro wrestling show to see the main event guy. Maybe you are. But for the most part, I think, Chris, people are going to see the ensemble cast. They're going to see the variety show. And you might have your favorites, but I don't think we're any longer at the days of we're going for the biggest world title match of all time. And if that's what you're going to get, great, but you're still going to get a full variety show of a lot of other people. But because things are the way they are now, man, in my head anyway, that's why we say things like this person doesn't need a belt because they don't need it to get over. That's my point here, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on what belt you're talking about, though, as well, right?
Sure.
Like if you're talking about a mid-card title, it doesn't really, it doesn't have the same effect as when the IC title was what it was in the 80s for WWF, for instance. But yeah, when you're saying, I guess this is in reference to Bobby Lashley having a big singles push and run and potentially not needing a title. I guess that's what we're responding to here. What I would say about that is every time Bobby Lashley has held a title somewhere, it has not been a very successful run. And you can look at his TNA runs, and that would be a reason enough for me not to push him as a heavyweight champion. But as far as him right now he's in a group with 3 other guys in mid-card matches. So I don't know. He almost has to destroy the entire entourage he is with to be launched into a place as a monster. Because you got to kind of do the Brock Lesnar push with Bobby Lashley, right? And then what do you do with him from there? So as far as when people don't need title, when someone says they don't need a title, I mean, I think of someone like The Undertaker, right? Like The Undertaker doesn't need a belt.
Mm-hmm. Because he's an attraction.
It's its own attraction. So it depends on what we're talking about in the sense of that person doesn't need a belt, because there are situations like Andre the Giant never needed a belt because he's already an attraction.
I think she was referencing when I mentioned Tony doesn't need a belt because Mercedes doesn't need the belt either. Mercedes is an attraction. Tony is an attraction. People are paying money. And again, it doesn't mean it's the only thing you're paying money for, Chris, but people are paying money and tuning in to see people. That is true. So Just don't need a championship. Like when Stone Cold didn't have a belt, did we consider him any less of a star, any less of a top guy? I don't believe we did. I didn't.
Well, I mean, that goes back to your reference with Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair, right? The fact that Dusty didn't have the belt means that he was chasing Ric Flair for the belt. So Tony not having the belt actually makes a lot of sense, because the chase, a lot of times, as we saw recently with Cody Rhodes, means more than winning the actual belt.
Yeah, for sure.
So when you say someone doesn't need a belt, if they're already a huge draw, it's actually, you can still help the division without them immediately getting the belt back.
100%, because they're putting eyes on it. Yeah, I get it. Let's see. Let me jump down to the beginning of the card here, man. The actual card anyway, the televised pay-per-view card. FTR with win 84 in a row for them. I don't know. Beating Jet Speed. You know, I'm not the guy that sits around going, your veteran tag team who's considered possibly the best in the locker room should lose every match. It's not me. I'm not saying that, but good God in heaven, they never lose a match at this point. Everybody wants to, give Hurt Syndicate a hard time. FTR didn't lose all that much, Chris. It's fine, I guess. I still submit that the Outrunners should have beat them at least one of those several matches they worked against those guys. But this was no surprise to me. I knew they were going to beat Jet Speed. What's your thoughts on this one? Anything?
They protected Jet Speed a little bit with the finish.
It's true.
So I'm assuming they're setting up a rematch where maybe Jet Speed gets the big win, which would be interesting. But I thought it was a good match. It actually ran over time on the bonus show, so you catch the beginning of this at on the pay-per-view. Is that what happened live? Because I saw the thing in its entirety, but I'm obviously watching. I didn't watch it live, so I'm not sure. But I heard it ran over their preview show into the beginning of the pay-per-view, where fireworks were going off like during the finish.
It was intentional. They did it on purpose.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have to pay to see the last 1 minute of the match on your
you talk about
show.
We were talking about the old days of the territories. Remember how every single episode of NWA and Worldwide Wrestling would go, fans, we got to go. And it's a brawl, because the idea was we're trying to talk them into the building for the big show next week in Atlanta, or whatever that looks like. We're trying to sell some tickets to the big show. So we're going to end the show with a big brawl, and Dusty and the Horseman and Magnum and Nikita and it's a big, holy crap. And then they cut to fade to black. Yeah. They just want to try something different. And, there was somebody from one of these websites, I forget who it is, just went after him and said it looked like a rookie, like an amateur thing. And I'm like, some people really need to get a life. Like, it's okay if you don't agree with something, but like, everybody just assumed, Chris, that it was, they didn't time. Look, I'm not going to defend AEW's production team because, brother, you've watched their shows. You've seen where suddenly the camera loses it. You're like, whoa. What? And the camera just lost the entire thing because it shot the crowd. And you're like, I just missed 2 moves in a row because they're calling the wrong cameras in the truck. So I'm not defending anybody, but like, yeah, apparently
I think older wrestling fans' minds go to immediately to like the WCW Great Pay-Per-View cutoff for the heavyweight title,
Yeah.
Losing that and them having to show it on Nitro. I think some people's minds went to that. I kind of went to the set of like, well, it's kind of scummy to do that on your free show to lead the ending in. It'd be curious to see if that worked for them. Did they get any additional buys?
That's a good question.
Right in the middle of that, they're like, oh no, I need to see what happened in the FTR match. I feel like if you're going to try that, you might have wanted to put like a higher stakes match there.
Yeah. Fernando says FTR lost versus Cope and Christian at the last pay-per-view. Who cares? Fernando, you're not wrong. But immediately after the loss, they destroyed them. Knocked out Beth. Cope's off TV again. I'm not saying FTR dictated how that was going to go, but I am saying, like, I kind of forgot they lost because it's like they got, you know what I mean? Like, and everybody relax. I'm not coming after FTR. I got no beef with anybody. It's just an observation and opinion. No one has to, agree with me. Just an observation. I don't know, Chris.
That's in response to you saying they haven't lost in forever.
Sure.
So
that's fine. And that's fine. But
that's fair.
As a veteran tag team, a younger tag team beating them would help that younger tag team, but that is not happening.
I mean, it looked like they set it up so that there's a Jet Speed rematch, and hopefully they go that route. Jet Speed gets a big win and
I hope
goes
so.
on to have a chase for the tag teams. Maybe them and Jurassic Park can lock up after this and see where we go. See where we go with that thing.
I'm good with that. I have no problem with that at all. Let's talk about the ladies again. Jamie Hayter defeated Tekla. Buddy, little Tekla's growing on me. And she's like the Spider Gwen, the Spider Girl, the Spider Man in this company. Now, I'm looking at her in that light now. So it's, I've always liked her, but she's growing, the gimmick's growing on me. I wasn't crazy about the gimmick, but now it's growing on me. I thought they had a really good match, man. Jamie Hayter's freaking awesome.
Yeah, I enjoyed this match. I thought it was really funny the spot where she Tekla, that is, she went over to Luthez's wife and faked the handshake and then hit a crossbody. That was a fun spot.
That's good.
Yeah, she's grown on me a little as well. I wasn't the biggest fan to begin with, and we'll see. Part of that is I haven't thought her matches were incredible, and she was in there with a great opponent with Jamie Hayter, so we'll see what happens after this. I guess would be my next, like, who's her next opponent and what does that look like? But yeah, coming out of this match, I she grew on me a little bit for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you. Ray says loves Spider Woman Jamie. I never said Swerve's leaving. Swerve's not leaving. Swerve's not leaving. Everything's fine. I promise you. As far as I know. Mariz says FTR is the second coming of the Midnight Express. Yeah. Marissa says Tekla should have won, and she should have won the women's title instead of boring Kris Stat. And Maria's throwing some punches today, boys. She's like, Maria's like, I didn't come in here to play. I came here to throw some heat.
I mean, I don't necessarily agree with her because they haven't done a great job of establishing a personality for Kris Statlander. As of yet, we got to give them time.
As of yet, what's the old saying? See how it plays out, right? Let's see. Hurt Syndicate. Speaking of the Hurt Syndicate, we're talking about Lashley. Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, and MVP defeated the Demand Tornado Trios match to determine the number one contender for the AEW World Trios Championship. 13 minutes and 30 seconds. I haven't given times on any of this. That Jurassic Express match went 21 minutes. It may have been the longest on the show. Nope. The Bandito match was the longest on the show at 27:25. So, Hurt Syndicate getting a good win here. I think they're going to be feuding with the Demand for another couple of months or whatever that looks like. I love Bishop Khan and Toleona. I think they're freaking great. I think Ricochet is in his element with this cocky heel business. What'd you think about this one?
It was okay. It wasn't my least favorite match on the show, but nothing really stood out about it to me, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I'm with you. I didn't feel a lot of it either. I like all the guys involved, but it's kind of weird. Like, and I'm sure MVP's doing this because he wants to do it, and if he wants to do it, he should do it. And if they want him to do it, that's even better. But I wonder if they're ever going to add like another guy to that stable, and if they are, who it would be. I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing, Chris, because this is not like they are the future of pro wrestling, because they're really not. Like, neither Shelton nor Lashley is. They don't really have that. Like, Death Riders has that, here's the veterans, here's the future. So they do have that sort of evolution kind of vibe. But Her Syndicate doesn't have that. What do you think about them potentially adding a new member?
Ooh. I mean, I think that's very interesting. It's just who would you add if it's someone like as far as what they already have on their roster goes?
Yeah, I don't know. Was it MJF?
Yeah. Speaking of, as far as like MVP in this match, I think he did a great job selling, but that went on forever. I feel like he got beat down forever in this match.
He did. He's going to take the heat for sure. He's going to take the heat. Those three guys are working together. MVP's taking the heat, brother. I'm going to tell you right now. Yeah, I'm sure he's fine with that. Fernando says, it's so dumb this feud is still going on. This match should have been the blow-off match. Maybe. Chris says, Demand should have won. What do you think about that? Demand needs a quality win at this point, don't they? Otherwise, they're just doing a lot of barking.
Yeah, I actually agree with that. I don't think it would have been the worst thing in the world for sure.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing though. Like, even if they blow off this feud, what do they have for these guys to do after that?
It's a good question. I mean, if they were to go the route of splitting them up, like we talked about earlier, if Lashley goes his way, and then I don't know, with Ricochet and the Gates of Agony, they're just getting started. But I don't know, man. It's a good question. That I love a trio stable. I know you got thoughts on trio stable and factions and whatnot, but I love a good trio stable, man. I'm totally fine with it. Totally good with it, actually.
I don't have a problem with it per se. It's just what are you accomplishing? Like, the way it's handled in New Japan is completely different than what they're trying to do in AEW.
That's fair.
When I think the onset is we're trying to do New Japan, but we're doing it very poorly at times with their factions, which is more of the issue I have with it. So what happens is you end up with a bunch of factions, and a lot of them are just lost in the shuffle, or looking at trios tag matches, or having a feud like this that lasts maybe too long. And that goes to the question of, well, even if we're doing that, what do we do if we break them up, or what do we do if we blow this feud off? The answer to that is like, well, you got to come up with some kind of storyline to have these guys have something to do on the show, or you're just not putting them on the show, I guess.
Yeah, for real. Fernando says it's creative job to find something for them to do. I mean, Tony is creative. Tony's the creative. He's it. I mean, it's his show. I mean, to my knowledge, there's not a booking committee there. It's just Tony, and that's fine. It's his show. It's his baby. But like the word creative, it's one guy. It's fine. I'm not trying to bag on him. Dusty was head booker for a long time, and he was freaking amazing. But, I don't know.
Yeah, when you're talking about blowing off a feud, though, and you got to have, in theory, you would want something to do afterwards, right? So maybe they just don't have that plan yet.
Yeah.
That also goes into, when you have as many belts as you have, and you have as many stars as you have, you got to find a unique way to put them on TV each week, and figure out a way to keep your pay-per-view within a reasonable time frame, right? Like, this thing went to what, like 12:30? It seemed like
it was late
already. So it's it's a conundrum for sure. And they've tried to alleviate that by having Ring of Honor pay-per-views and things like that. That's how you get to where WWE is, where you have like multiple pay-per-views and separate brands. And I don't necessarily like that either. I don't think that's the answer. I don't know. I don't have a good answer for you creatively, or Tony creatively. Because they almost tried that when they split the shows originally for an A show and a B show, without actually saying that they had an A show and a B show.
Well, they were doing that to make one guy happy, which you can never do and should never do.
Agreed.
Ever. I was involved with a company one time, and we had two guys that had heat, and I was essentially told he has to be over there and he has to be over there. And I'm like, then why are they here? Like, I don't understand why they're here. Hash it out. You're grown men. So we eventually had to sit them down. We had to sit them down and have a long talk and say, whatever the beef is, squash it now. We want both you guys, but you got to knock this off. And it took a long time because egos were involved. Money wasn't involved, but egos were involved. That's for sure. Which oftentimes can be much more malignant than money. So there you go.
I mean, and that goes back to the old argument of, do they have too many people on the roster to begin with, right? Like, and I don't ever like making that argument, because people should have jobs.
Yes, for sure.
Right? Yeah. It's better to have too many than too little.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's where that argument starts coming into play is things like this, where a feud is running just to run because they don't have anything for these guys to do. And it's with as many moving parts as AEW currently has, with their let's say the top end, their main events, your women's title, and in these big feud battles that they have at the very top of the card with the Night Riders, etc.
The Night Riders, I love that. You said Night Riders. That's awesome.
Yeah, the Night Riders. All kidding aside, but you're running. That's why they're running into that situation, because now you're booking an entire faction storyline versus the AEW. Your mind is not necessarily set on the Hurt Syndicate, right? Like,
yeah,
it's kind of just like they're in something, leave them there for a while.
Yeah, leave them there for a while. I wanted to start doing the intro to Knight Rider, and I can't remember how it goes. Knight Rider, and I can't do the voice. Something about the story of a man that does not exist. I don't know.
Boink Studios YouTube is the home of Tom Clark's main event, Tom Clark's 6M podcast, Bear Mode, a podcast review of The Bear, and Two Nations Under Ted, a Ted Lasso podcast. Subscribe to the channel for archives that date back to 2014, with new content being uploaded every week. And check out boinkstudios.com for links to every podcast platform, social media, special announcements, and a lot more. Bookmark the site today.
Something like that. All right, moving on, kids. Kyle Fletcher retained the AEW TNT Championship by beating Mark Briscoe. Now, I've had people tell me, Tom, it's way too early for Kyle Fletcher to lose that belt. Kyle's obviously talking about the future. Kyle's obviously the present, but he's very much the future as well. Kyle's great. And I'm like, all these things can be true at the same time as the statement that Mark Briscoe still does not have a belt. Both those things can be true at the same time. Chris, am I delusional? Am I wrong?
I think both. Yeah, you're right. Both of those things can be true at the same time. This company has given me no faith in them ever pushing Mark Briscoe as a top guy. So I'm not surprised by the outcome of this match. I was surprised when he beat, one at the last pay-per-view.
Yeah, right.
Just because of the way that they've booked him. I think he's probably, with the exception of like Toni Storm and maybe Darby Allin, he's probably the biggest babyface they have. Mm-hmm. And he takes way too many losses for my taste. But it ain't my show, buddy.
Yeah, I know how you feel about him, and I share a lot of your opinion on Mark. And, out of 6 matches he has in the course of a month or whatever that number is, out of 6 matches, he should probably win at least 3 to 4. I don't think he should be 2-4 at any given time for any reason. That's me talking. JP, you went and found it. Don't tell me you knew this off the top of your head. Look at that. A shadowy flight to the dangerous world of a man. See, I remember that part. It does not exist.
I've sent the show into the descent of Knight Rider.
Yes. That was one of my favorite shows growing up, man.
There's a really terrible Knight Rider video game that was released for PlayStation in the UK only. If any of you gamers out there that do emulation, get a copy of that and give it a play. It's pretty awful.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow. Maria says Fletcher is the future. He was the right decision to win. Maria, you know what, Maria? I want you to keep this fire. Maria is on fire. Maria don't care what you think. Maria heard what you said and went, ha, 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 and said, nope. I like that. Maria's bringing it.
I agreed with you on I could have went either way with this because I think both opinions are valid. You can both be the future, but not also the right now.
Yeah.
There's this thing called the present. The future is the future Wednesday or is the future next year? What does the future mean?
We're just trying to go from day to day, brother. That's a good rebuttal. I'll take that. I'll allow it. But you watch your step, McCoy. Anyway, not everybody will get that. Let's see. We talked about Mercedes Monet. By the way, we didn't talk anything about this match. I don't want to bag on Fletcher in the slides. Fletcher is freaking great. And he and Mark had an excellent match here. My only complaint was not necessarily Mark should have won on this night. But I would like to see them eventually give Mark a title that Chris Jericho doesn't beat him for 2 weeks later. Hi. But it doesn't necessarily have to be the TNT title at WrestleDream this past Saturday night. But Chris, this match was great, man, for sure.
It was, and they did a very similar finish to the pre-show where there's reason to set up another match, right? You get the big nut shot by Kyle Fletcher leading to the finish. So they set it up as Mark lost, but he didn't lose clean, kind of thing. So we'll probably see it again.
Yeah, and we'll see what the outcome is at that point. Mercedes Moné, winner take all, and this time she won an interim Ring of Honor Women's World TV Championship. 12 belts, Moné. 11? 12?
It's just Mercedes Ultimo Moné, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we're going with.
And it's the interim Ring of Honor Women's World Television Championship. So,
so I haven't kept up with Ring of Honor's shows recently. Why is it interim? Did someone get injured? Who was the champion before?
Yes, and if I tell you, I'm going to forget. Somebody went on the shelf. Was it Red Velvet that went on the shelf? Let's see here. The interim Women's World TV Championship was actually a March 16th, 2024 taping. Queen Amina defeated. All right. On April 5th, 2024, Supercard of Honor, Billy Starks defeated Queen Amina to become the first ever champion. I mean, technically she is. They didn't take the belt from her, but Red Velvet is injured.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So there you go. So they're just doing the interim champion. That's right. 12 belts. Ultima Moné. Yes. So what do you think about this match, man? What do you think about this match versus the other women's matches? Do you think it was just as good? Was it quality? What do you think?
I thought this was a really good match. I don't know that it was good as the Toni Storm match, but it was a really, really good, really solid match for sure. What was I'm losing my mind. We've already talked about three women's matches, right? I was going to put them in order, but now I'm a little brain dead.
Well, by the way, great call, because we had Jamie versus Tekla.
Right.
And we had Stat versus Toni.
Yeah. So I would probably go Toni, then the match from the pre-card with Jamie, and then this match. But I thought all of the matches were good. But if I was ranking them personally, that would probably be my ranking. Yeah,
I agree. Mercedes is just awesome. I just can't say enough things about Mercedes. She's freaking great. I mean, that's what I was saying. People are having a lot of heartburn over she's got this many belts. Guys, it's not real. The belts aren't real. I mean, Chris, we talk a lot about this person. We just talked about how it'd be cool if Mark had a belt. In Mark's world, maybe Mark has told Toni, I don't care about a belt, dude. I'm good. You don't need to do that. I don't need it. Don't want it. It's entirely possible, because at the end of the day, he's on TV. He's doing his thing. He's contributing. He's an important part of the show. The belts are more, I believe, for the fans than they ever have been, which is tough to say, depending on who you are and what title it is, as you suggested earlier. That titles will mean different based in different spots on the card. And, of course, they all carry different weights. But I don't know, man. People are having a lot of heartburn over this Mercedes thing, all these belts. I don't care. It's a storyline. It'll be fine. I mean, Chris, the real story is going to be when she starts dropping them. Because I think when she starts dropping them, it's going to be monumental. She's going to drop them like crazy.
Yeah, it'll be all at one time. And then if I was booking that, she would come out of it as a baby face, right? That's when you start building the redemption arc, when everything starts falling apart.
Yes.
Which is probably what they're building to. Makes a lot of sense.
I agree. Yeah.
And like you said, it's not like she has 13 belts within the same company. It's
yeah. Yeah, several different companies. Brother, if I had a pro wrestling company, she could have my belt. It'd be fine with me. You kidding me? That goes in my record books. Even if it's only for a month or so, it's in my record books that Mercedes Moné was my women's world champion. That's pretty freaking awesome, I think. Yeah, Maria says it was a solid match. I agree. Fernando says, I thought the Mina reveal was disappointing. Nothing against Mina, but a lot of us was expecting a surprise challenger. Not something we see all the time. Fernando, who would it have been? Chris, are there any surprises left for the women at this point? What woman could have shown up that was not Stardom or not?
That's what I was going to say. You'd have to pull someone out of Stardom, right, for it to be a surprise. Because there's not anyone that's been currently released, unless you're going to go like the NWA route
or NXT.
I mean, they picked a good challenger for her because they had a really good match together. Her and Mina, they had good chemistry in the ring. So it would be cool to see a surprise. I just don't know who that surprise would be, who's not under some sort of WWE Legends contract and currently works in the United States, like a Shotzi. Is that what we're talking about? Like a Shotzi Blackheart, maybe? Or someone from NWA? Or...
JP says Scarlett. Yeah.
Scarlett Boudreaux, but she's back. Didn't she just do a video package with what's his face? Tommy End?
Cross? Oh, yeah. Did she? Oh,
yeah,
wow.
They released a video package, so I think she's back to. If that's who you're talking about, Scarlett Boudreaux, then she's back to WWE, as far as I know.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
They've been posting those videos of. I keep calling him Tommy End because I can think of his gimmick name in WWE now, but
Aleister Black.
Yeah, they posted a video on Instagram earlier this week with them doing a promo together and him talking about him and his wife finally being back together and them both kind of cutting a promo, building to something. I don't know what they're building to. I haven't watched WWE in a few weeks, but that's out there.
Interesting. Maria says Dakota Kai. I just don't know. Does she have a non-compete? It's a good question. So let's talk about your favorite match of the night, Bro Dido, with retaining the AEW World Tag Team Championship against the Don Callis family, Kazuchika Okada and Konosuke Takeshita. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, like I said at the beginning of the show, I think this was my favorite match of the night. Mostly just the way that they set up the heat between the two partners with Okada. Brody King, the big German suplex looked insane. 4-man German suplex was pretty good. And there was just, I mean, as far as like a tag match goes, this is probably the more of the traditional tag match of the two great tag matches we saw. Yeah, and I liked the finish. I mean, it's probably setting up something more related to New Japan than AEW with the way that with what we currently have in the New Japan landscape of Okada clotheslining his partner at the end with the Rainmaker, which is the worst thing that could have happened for their team. And then Okada cutting that big smile. So like, as far as a storytelling in wrestling match, this was my favorite match of the night.
I thought it was awesome. I thought when he hit him with that Rainmaker and he goes, oh, and then he starts flipping him off. That's the best thing ever. He did like slow motion reaction. It was great.
And this is probably the best Okada I've seen in a few months. So I'm excited to see where this leads.
I think he and Takeshi are going to crush it. And, you know, I know the New Japan and DDT thing is still very much real because I have questioned why it's still real when New Japan has obviously as a company gotten past it. They put their world championship on Takeshita. I do not believe that, as Tony Khan's saying, you better. I don't believe that. New Japan's not going to put their world title on a guy who came up in DDT unless they wanted to do it. So,
well, I mean, I think New Japan sees that there's much like AEW sees that he's a phenomenal wrestler and can be a big draw for them. So I think that New Japan was smart enough to put that aside and go, hey, let's give this guy a shot, right? Because they're kind of in a dry spell right now at the main event level of their company with losing so much talent and having so many people retire recently that were mainstays on their cards for the past decade.
Yeah. But I'll tell you this, and you're not wrong, and I agree with all that. But like the fans have not gotten past it because Takeshita got booed when he won that championship. It wasn't 100%. A lot of people in that crowd were booing him, and he leaned into it as a heel because Takeshita hadn't really worked heel in Japan yet. He is now, and he leaned into it, which I think it's smart. But that crowd, Chris, really cares that he's not a New Japan guy. So it's still very much alive and well.
I mean, even if he wasn't in DDT prior, he would still technically be considered an AEW guy, right? Like, so I don't know how you get around that. You just have to have him be a heel.
Yeah, I wonder if the AEW part would bother anybody. I can't answer that because I don't know. It's a good question. Maria says the match was incredible. Solid match. Really good match for sure. Fernando says Bandito should win Tag Team of the Year. And Bandito should win Wrestler of the Year. Bandito is great. He is awesome.
Bandito's incredible. I can't say enough good things about that guy, for sure.
He's awesome. And Okada slapping Brody and smiling about it, and then Brody chopping the life out of him. Great.
Okada was on his game. We kind of talked about. I think it was on your last show, or the show before last. You had brought up, like, do you think that Okada's really sending it, or giving it his all? And maybe it was off mic we were talking about this. And this match felt like form Okada to me, like what I expect when I think of New Japan Okada. So that was a nice return to form for me.
Yeah, he looks great. I've not been one of those fans that's been bagging on him, talking about he don't have it anymore. It's not been me, everybody. Not that Chris has, but I definitely haven't, for sure.
No, I think that there's definitely been some level of how much he's going to give, which is not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, I still don't know how much of that I even buy. I'm not trying to be a contrarian.
It's what story you're in, right? Like,
sure,
you know.
Oh, for sure,
I get it. But we saw this in New Japan with Okada too. That's not a new take on Okada. Like, watch some of those 3-man matches during G1s that he was a part of, like the trio tag matches he was a part of. He's not giving you full on Wrestle Kingdom Okada every time he goes out.
That's no doubt. Yeah. No doubt. Yeah. I don't know. I got a soft spot for Okada. And he's the one guy it's incredibly hard for me to not be biased toward. Do you know what I mean?
No, yeah, I do. He's one of my favorite wrestlers of the past, 10, 15 years. So, but it also makes it a little easier to be like, yeah, I know Okada's still good. He ain't, I don't know that he's giving it 100% right now. He might be sandbagging a little bit, which is fine.
Who was the NBA player back in the days they admitted he was taking plays off? Flat out admitted he was. It wasn't AI, was it? Was it?
I mean, Allen Iverson at his highest peak when he won MVP, that would be impossible for him to take a playoff because he was scoring like 44 points a game or whatever that incredible. Ray pulled that stat.
But there was somebody.
It was ridiculous.
It was insane. Yeah, and AI is my guy. But like there was somebody back in the day who said something about taking plays off.
Carmelo Anthony. That sounds like something Carmelo. Latrell Sprewell. Let's bag on some Knicks guys, I guess.
Latrell Sprewell choking out his coach. I remember all that, man. Holy cow. Yeah, I was solid NBA guy during those years, buddy, for sure. Let's see. 2 matches left, kids, and we're going to take it home. Hangman Adam Page retained the AEW World Championship. Chris, not only did Will Hobbs turn heel again, but freaking Shibata turned right there with him. What'd you think about that?
I liked it. I like the continuation, especially the follow-up promo that Joe had after this.
Yeah.
Was really good. So I'm, it's giving Hangman something to overcome. So I'm okay with it. I don't necessarily love that this is where they've positioned Hobbs in this company, because I thought that they had something kind of special there. And he's to me has been wasted a bit. I think a lot of people would probably agree with that, but
I do.
If this is where he's positioned at this point in your company, then this isn't the worst thing to do. I'm not necessarily stoked on another faction, but at least it's going to give Hangman something to overcome while they're waiting for the next big opponent. And we got a great promo out of Joe after it. I thought this match was fine. It definitely wasn't the best Hangman match I've ever seen. It's not the best Samoa Joe match I've ever seen, but it wasn't bad or anything.
I agree. I thought it was really, really solid. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Both guys are pros. I think they could phone it in and have a great match, and they didn't. They didn't phone it in, but they could. But they're fantastic, man. I really enjoyed it. I love Joe. I'm with you. I like that this wasn't a one and done. This company is pretty notorious, Chris, for here's our world champion, here's the challenger. They beat him, move on. They beat him, move on. They beat him, move on. They just knock down the dominoes one by one by one. And I guess if the alternative you tell me is, hey, in that other company, they feud for 6 straight months and have the same TV match, 9 weeks in a row, well, that's a problem because I don't want that. Do you know what I mean? So, if all that happens, no thank you. So I guess if I had to choose between, one and done, one and done, one and done, or, feuds that take way too long, I'll take the one and done.
Yeah, you could almost say that about this entire show though, because we got three matches that kind of had some sort of, hey, we're going to see this again during this pay-per-view. So it in some ways it felt like a transitional pay-per-view.
Yeah, for sure. One match left. I know you got thoughts. Darby Allin finally getting a quality pay-per-view win against John by God Moxley. In the main event, we had under the nails, we had an aquarium. They could load that aquarium up with some piranha, if you ask me. If we're going to do it, we go full bore. I don't know. I know you got thoughts on this, Chris. What you got?
So, it's just not, this stuff is not for me. Like spiking people under their fingernails and attempting to drown them in the middle of the ring. It's just not for me, man. Not at 37 anymore. Maybe back when I was in high school and CZW existed, I'd be like, oh man, this is cool. I don't know. This is weird because they're Tony Khan, a week before this, is talking about wanting to reach families with their ticket pricing. And then they put out this kind of stuff, and you're like, I don't know if I would take my kids to this. If I had kids, I don't know that I would take them to see that. But look, it's just not my thing. A lot of people really like it, so I'm not going to be fit to judge this as far as a match goes. I will say it was really, really nice seeing Stinger. I was excited to see Sting, so they got me back with Sting. But the rest of it, we had 4 people beating Darby Allin for how most of this match, and then Sting making a save. And then after everything that they did in this match, he won with a Scorpion Deathlock.
Yeah.
So he won with a wrestling move in a match where they tried to drown a man.
Here's what I told Phil off mic the other night. I said, again, this company is notorious for a couple of different things. One of them is perhaps, and I'm not saying they didn't prep for this, but when Sting took that bat and smashed that aquarium, I thought, wow, hope glass doesn't fly into the front row. Guys, did we test another aquarium before we did this live? Did we know that it won't fly into the front row? That it won't fly up into someone's eye and blind them for life? Did we really know? Okay, we didn't try. Cool. I'm not saying that they didn't. But stuff like that gave me a reason for a pause. Your front row's right there. I'll move on. But also, I guess the thought was, okay, this aquarium's been busted. Mox is now on his stomach. There's glass. He don't have a choice but to tap out. But I'll say this. He spent the whole match screaming at at Darby, that he was never going to tap out. He wasn't going to make him say, I quit. He was screaming at him, right? And then he said, I quit. And I'm like, what? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how you quantified one with the other. It was odd to me, man.
It's so crazy because there's Moxley did that, but then you also had some good psychology right before this aquarium right? Where Darby's knocked out, so he splashes water on his face first to wake him up before he starts the drowning process. Which, some good in-ring psychology.
Oh,
You
God.
need the man to be able to say, I quit.
Yes.
This
That's the ultimate.
this kind of stuff is not, it's not for me. It's just not for me.
Yeah, and I don't know how much farther. I don't know what's left. Like, there's a no blood rule, I think, in St. Louis. I think, unless it's of course accidental. So I mean, they had to find a way to get around it. So they got around it with the skewers, and they got around it with the aquarium, I guess, and the drowning, the attempted drowning. But
And also the way that they've built this storyline of AEW, like it's almost like what they tried to do with Sting in '97, where he's like WCW's last hope. Everyone has joined, the Death Riders, and it's like, well, that's not necessarily true in AEW, right? Like, it didn't really.
yeah.
I enjoyed the finish. I thought it was cool that Sting showed up. Obviously, I think that was an homage in him holding the flag up that he carried up Everest. Like, that was a nice moment. But this isn't the same thing of like, all of the big stars, Luger and Randy, they all join this faction. So you need one hero. If that's what they were trying to get across, which maybe they weren't, but it definitely seemed like an homage to that to me, specifically that '97.
I don't know if I picked up on that, but that's okay. Yeah, don't get me started on that 97. I'm not doing it. You're not getting me back into that again.
I'm not trying to draw. Let's not talk about Sting and Hogan. People don't got time for that today.
I'm trying not to. We're trying to start a weekend here, Chris. What the heck are you doing to me? Well, there you have it, kids. There's WrestleDream 2025. Before we take it home and start the weekend, let's don't put that up. Let's put this up. The floor, she is open. So if anyone's got any comments, thoughts, words of wisdom, Fernando says silver black Sting is awesome. I'm just partial to the black hair. I'm sorry. We're all getting older. I respect that. Kudos to Sting. Dude's 66. Loves Sting. No disrespect. But I like the black.
I actually agree. I think it looks pretty cool. I'm not gonna
see?
Yeah, I think it looks pretty cool too. Especially if they do that snow entrance again down the line.
Oh, winter is coming.
Sting the Great White coming out.
I wrote a piece today, and I think I kicked it off with winter is coming, and I did it intentionally because I had that in my head. Ray says, what info you know about Swerve? I got nothing for you. Nice and Smooth or Lost Boys, and Part 2 Rob Bass or Heavy D. And if Adam Cole invited you to the grand opening, it's always a grand opening of the Adam Cole soap and body wash store. Adam is really looking for work these days, kids. Where you can get any fragrance of body wash or soap. What kind would you get? So you can invite a friend. He can have some. Would you call me later? Wanted to get dinner, which included barbecue brisket, fries, a cold glass of water, I think you meant to say. And a slice of sweet potato pie got to join as well. Yes, of course. I will say, I got to be honest, man. I think of the 4 acts you mentioned, I'm more into Rob Bass and Heavy D than I am the other 2 acts. No disrespect to those guys, but I never really got into Nice and Smooth or Lost Boys, if I'm being honest. What do you think, Chris?
I'm not a fan of any of those acts. So
really, not even Rob Bass?
Rob Bass is okay, but it's not. It might be a little too early hip hop for me. Oh,
interesting. Let's see. What fragrance of body wash or soap? Manly Men. I don't know. I don't really care about any. Can I be honest with you? I just use whatever's in the shower, man. If whatever's sitting there, I'll use it. I don't care. Like, maybe I should care more, but as long as I'm clean, I'm good. Do you know what I mean?
My wife picks mine out. She's like, this is better for your skin.
But, and of course, call you for sure. Yeah. Let's see. Fernando says, Fernando, we may end with yours today. What are your thoughts on WWE planning on having AI writing wrestling storylines, and are you concerned AEW will do the same later? I think WWE should do whatever WWE wants to do. I think it's laughable. They got more money than God. They don't need AI doing anything for them, but it's their company. They can do what they want. And no, I hope it does not happen in AEW. Any thoughts on the AI stuff with writing with a pro wrestling, Chris?
I think it depends on what it entails, right? Like people can use AI for beneficial things. I think it would be crazy to think that both companies aren't using AI to some extent, even if it's just like, hey, lay out a card for me, and then here's the wrestlers I want. Like, as far as like, these are the matches I have. Put this into a format that I can print it to a timesheet. Like AI is being used more than you realize. I wonder, I don't know the exact story, that WWE story that came out as far as what they're going to do for writing, but they'll see very quickly. If you ask AI to just write things, you're going to get some crazy, you're going to get some crazy results. If you're like, hey, write me a storyline, get some wild answers there. So they're going to have to go back in whatever they get. Yeah, I mean, whatever they got, anyways, they would have to go back in and it'll have to have a human touch. That's, to me, I would almost trust AI better than let's go back 10 years to the 5 or 6 soap opera writers that they had working for them. At least it would aggregate things specifically wrestling related to try to create storylines.
Well, to my knowledge, WWE still does that where they hire TV writers and put them at a big table. I thought that's still how they're doing their thing. I don't know. Maybe it's not. So
no, it is. But Vince was very focused on hiring, like, specifically soap opera writers, people that won Emmys and stuff, and then keeping it. Yeah, I don't know. Who knows what they do over there? I don't think they know what they do over there half the time. So.
Fernando says, "Did you hear about the huge gambling scandal in NBA?" Chris, have you heard about this?
I have. Chauncey Billups apparently, and a long list of other. Have you seen the beginning of Casino, or like where they're naming off all of the different mobster names? Or like Johnny Bambino, Little P, and like this. Like if you look at the list of people that are accused of setting up these poker games, they all kind of have that name. So as I was reading it, that's immediately what I thought of. Wow. But apparently they were setting up celebrities and people with high incomes to fix poker games, much like Casino, with being able to read cards with cameras, playing with marked cards, that kind of thing. There's some other gambling scandals that are tied into it, more related to the NBA and sports betting, that I'm not as familiar with because I haven't had time to read about it the past 2 days. But that's the general gist I was getting from the local sports radio. It's pretty crazy. Like, it's Adam Silver from the NBA is going to have to come out and make a statement. The FBI is investigating it. So for the NBA, someone that's kind of avoided big scandals in the past, this is going to be a big deal for them. I don't know what that really means as far as a big deal goes, but it's definitely not something positive for sure. Yeah. There's a whole show that I'm sure we'll hit on this on Monday.
Yeah, everybody tune in to Ray Sports and Slams this Monday. We may even be talking about it, so we'll see. Yeah, I'm not up on what's going on in the NBA all that much, but in terms of the sports betting with pro sports and the teams and the players, let them bet. And I wouldn't have said that once upon a time. Chris, when you make them a sponsor of the game and you make them every third commercial is DraftKings and their logo's on your screen as the game is playing, and their website URL is on the screen as the game is playing, and they've got celebrities doing the ads, I don't understand why, if you're going to do all that, how are you going to penalize guys for getting involved with it?
Well, there's two separate things. One is the poker, the setup poker games, right?
Sure.
Where they're just fleecing people for money.
Right.
The other is that they actually, if I'm recalling right from what I heard on the radio, there was an NBA player who was faking an injury or faked an injury in a few games after the line had been set. So when people place their bets, he faked his injury. That affects the game, changes your betting lines. That's a whole different level of what you're talking about. Because like I kind of agree with you. Like, but the problem is like if you're able to bet on your own games, or if you have people betting on you, if you're tying it that into it, there's easy ways in the NBA to, Harlem Globetrotters, brother, is what I'm getting at. If you add in the
Right.
gambling aspect of it, like there's ways to keep games close, make them closer than they should be.
Right.
But to agree with your point, you set yourself up for this when you get sponsored by DraftKings and 7,000 other betting apps. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer for that is. We'll see. We'll see what Adam Silver has to say. The commish.
Yeah,
the commish got to say about it.
Yeah, and I don't want to condone anything. You rip somebody off, you should be held responsible for that, of course. But yeah,
I mean, it's a big deal because they're tying those two things together with the NBA. So even though they're separate gambling issues, it's becoming a RICO case to some extent. So that's that in itself is not something you necessarily want to be associated with as the National Basketball Association.
No, I can see that. I agree with that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not trying to be holier than thou. I don't think gambling, the wages of sin is gambling death. I don't know. I don't want to say none of that stuff. I think you should be able to do as long as it's legal and you're not hurting anybody. If you want to gamble, go gamble. It's your money. What do I care if you do what you do with your money? But I think my only point about not just NBA, but NFL and every other sport, you're going to penalize the players for gambling. But again, there's stuff hanging in the stadium that says DraftKings. I just don't understand. But hey,
I mean, you should be able to gamble on sports that you don't like the leagues that you don't play in, right? I don't know what the rules around that is. Like if you want to bet on college football and you play in the NBA, it shouldn't matter, right? One would think. I think that's how the rules are laid out. The issue becomes when you're doing like the Pete Rose, right? Like where you're betting on even if you're only betting on your team to win, it can be problematic.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Chris, I appreciate you joining me, man. We're going to get out of here. Before we call it a day, tell everybody where they can find you on the internets.
Christopher.r.patton on Facebook and Christopher.r.patton on Instagram. Check out both my shows and at Boink Studios, which Tom referenced earlier, the Bachman's Basement, which is a Stephen King / Richard Bachman podcast, in which we go over the movies and novels of Stephen King in short stories. We're got a special Halloween episode coming up where me and my co-host go over our top favorite novels, our top 10 favorite novels, and our top 10 favorite film adaptations. And there's some surprises in there for me. So if you check that out, you'll get to hear those. And the Patton Report, which is it's kind of a catch-all pop culture podcast. I talk a little bit about wrestling, sports, a lot about video games. So if you like video games, it's the show to check out. And, movies and TV, whatever I'm watching that week. It's a shorter show. So if you're just looking for like something quick to listen to while you're in a car or working out, I think it's good for that. If you like, film, video games, TV, that kind of thing.
It's the single greatest podcast of all time.
Some might say that.
It's what the man said. I'm just saying it. I'm just repeating it. Chris, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. All right, kids. That was Christopher.r.patton. And as he said, folks, Boink Studios is the home of the Patton Report and Bachman's Basement. A brand new episode of Bachman's Basement is coming your way at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the morning. Yeah. The audio version will upload to your favorite podcast platform, Spotify, and also online. And the video version will upload to, you guess it, Boink Studios YouTube. So if you will, kids, go follow us on the YouTube. There's no paywall. No money needs to change hands. Just go give us a follow and like, share, and subscribe. We would very much appreciate that. The channel is growing thanks in large part to the work Chris is doing and to also the work that Ray Dean is doing with Ray Sports and Slams. And kids, we've got 6 brand new shows. Right now, it's 5 brand new shows coming out per week. Our podcast review of The Bear, which is called Bear Mode. We're actually on a short break right now as we are working on season 2 behind the scenes. Season 1 is wrapped, so all 8 episodes from season 1 are available on the YouTube. So go check them out. That's Bear Mode, a podcast review of The Bear. If you're a Ted Lasso fan, we've done all 3 seasons. Full video and audio episodes available on Boink Studios YouTube. Please go check them out. We dive deeper than any podcast I've ever heard of when it comes to the show of Ted Lasso. So we hope you enjoy that. Tom Clark's Main Event, the show you're listening to now. We have been going strong since 2014, kids. And we've got episode 400 coming up in 3 weeks. We can't wait to get there. And we, of course, appreciate you following us through these years and supporting the show wherever you can. Always means a lot to me. So thank you very much for that. Tom Clark's 6M podcast, movies, music, Marvel, magazines, miniseries, and more. Just like the Patton Report, it's a catch-all pop culture show. It's usually myself with 1 to 2 to 3 to maybe 4 other folks in the room. So we appreciate you checking out the 6M podcast as well. And I think we've got them all there, kids. Again, Boink Studios is the channel. Please go check us out. It means loads to us if you would do that. We're going to get out of here. Thanks to everybody for watching live and after the fact and listening live and after the fact. Again, means loads to us. And do me a favor, kids. Have a great weekend. We should be back a week from today, barring any unforeseen circumstance. Stay tuned to Boink Studios on the Facebook, and we update our socials very regularly, kids. So if anything comes up, we'll let you know. Any questions, comments, words of wisdom, you can leave them here on the Facebook. You can email me. You can see messages there. You can see links in the description. So please go check it out. BoinkStudios.com, kids. Please don't forget. Thanks, as always, for checking us out, folks. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time, kids.